back to another video, you guys. It is Friday here. I'm back again. Topic for this one is gonna be oil and inflation, I guess. I think recently, obviously, the Fed is talking about we're seeing the inflation kind of come up a little bit here. And obviously, that's spooking people as far as higher for longer questions come in. You know, the Fed's come out and said they're going to cut rates a couple times this year, and I guess as the narrative changes, data comes out or things happen. Maybe the Saudis cut more production like they have been doing for quite some time now, come into play. And I'd say oil, at the end of the day, energy is the economy. And as energy prices up, as the price of oil goes up, you'll see the CPI go up as well. I mean, if you put the two charts as far as the price of oil per barrel and then the CPI, obviously, they're very closely linked together. I mean, energy goes into everything that we do. Every service that we pay for, every business needs some kind of energy of some sorts to provide. So, of course, as the cost of energy goes up, inflation goes up as well. And, no wonder the Fed prefers the, I'm blanking on it right now, but whatever index where they take out food, energy, housing, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. People have a ton of, even myself, I have my own gripes with that index, or both indexes. Anyways, and we can make a whole video about that. But, there's only so much the Fed can do as far as, obviously there's blatant money printing and then just handing it out to people and having them spend it, and obviously that's very inflationary as we've all seen here. But there's a component the Fed cannot control, which is as far as the component of energy and the production, whether it's all this ESG stuff where you try and tell people, no, we're gonna do solar, we're gonna do wind, all that stuff doesn't change the fact that right now we all need oil to run the economies, no matter what. I mean, even here, does not change the fact that we're everywhere is still heavily reliant on oil, and that's not going to change anytime soon. So, yeah, Saudis have been cutting all year trying to keep this price level, but I think we're at a point now where, let's see here. I think we're at a point where, like I said, there's not much the Fed can do about that. There's not much. I mean, obviously we can increase production here, which might alleviate some costs, but I don't think we're going to do that with this, with our president here. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we'll see we might see more inflation on the energy side of things, but kind of like I talk about in most of my videos, I think the main theme of things is the consumer and consumer habits changing that I've seen change in my own local economy here even. And while the CPI and things might go up for those inflation measures, I do kind of agree with the Fed that, all these things like the preferred Fed inflation measure where they take out food, energy, all the important stuff, really, we still might see stuff like that go down as far as services prices coming down, the price for certain services coming down, and then even some goods like, I don't know, TVs, couches. I don't think a lot of people are trying to buy that stuff right now, and I don't think people will be trying to buy that stuff right now. And because everyone needs energy, everyone needs food, everyone needs housing. Everything else is kind of secondary to those things. So if prices for energy stay elevated, obviously I think what I've already seen here is people will travel less. I mean, I work and I live in a travel destination. I talk to the people who own all the gas stations, and they're all kind of telling me the same thing, as far as people aren't traveling as much anymore. People aren't doing as much, obviously, because it's just so expensive. So yes, people need gas to get to work, but people aren't going to spend money on those extracurricular activities or whatever that they're going to do for themselves or their kids. I have a barber around here who I talk to. He's having trouble booking people to come in for his services, or maybe people would come in every month, and he's saying they're coming in maybe every 6 months, or not 6 months, maybe every 6 weeks now. Or they're letting their hair grow out a little bit longer and things like that. So it's these things affect, obviously, as people, we're all spending more, but it's all the extra stuff that we can cut back on. I think people are cutting back on, as far as, oh, let's not go for that, let's not go on that little weekend trip, let's wait a little longer to get our haircuts. I've kind of seen all those habits come into play, and even with the restaurants around here, I've talked to a lot of people, and the habits. I mean, there's been more people. Obviously, it's only a couple, but it's still a lot more than when people were flush with money, as far as people just going in, eating food, and then leaving without paying. But I've talked to people who have seen more of that. I've talked to restaurant owners who've seen a lot more of, maybe a family of four coming in and just sharing one burger, for a whole family of four people. I mean, I've heard a lot of that. I've heard a lot of that around here. Or maybe, so yeah, I guess if people who do take these day trips down to where I work, where I live, then they won't spend as much. They'll spend on the gas, because they have to spend on the gas, the energy to get here, and then they'll get here, obviously, to a great place, and then they just won't spend as much here. So, and I think every single business here, I've talked to almost every single one. Like I was saying, I've seen kind of these habits of the consumer start to change as the savings rates go down. I've talked to some commenters about that, as the savings rate is absolutely tanked and it's below 2019 levels now, even before COVID levels. So it's we went where we shot up. Everyone had all these stimmy checks, all this unemployment money, whatever you can get, PPE loans, and now it's back down. And I think people are taking on a bunch of debt, and people are having to make conscious choices. Everyone needs, like I was saying, food, energy, housing. Everybody needs those things. Everything else is secondary. If you have to cut out certain things, you have to wait longer for a haircut, all those things is what we're seeing as far as consumer habits changing. So it's, people can, Saudis say they can cut the oil all they want, but I'm in the camp where, even if prices raise even more, I mean, the consumer's tapped out. I don't think we'll go over $100 a barrel. I think, or if we do, then I think it'll go right back down. I just don't think that we're in a spot where consumers, not only in the U.S. but outside the U.S., where a lot of these countries are already in recession, we can't afford the higher prices. And high prices is the cure for higher prices, essentially. I mean, we saw what oil was before, and now, obviously people, like I was talking about the size before, they've been cutting oil almost all year, even going back to last year, and oil's just still been hovering around $80. It's been going up a bit, but I think long term, I don't think the consumer can maintain these. Like I was saying, people will cut back in other areas, obviously, because they have to. So even if energy prices and stuff go up, I think we'll still see, especially if energy prices go up, I think we'll still see deflation in other areas, as far as the service economy, or even, like I was talking about, just miscellaneous spending, as far as if you're trying to buy a couch, a TV, even iPhones. iPhone sales they've been dropping for a couple of years now, or they haven't been selling what they think they would be selling. And yeah, that's just consumer habits changing. People will hold on to their phone for longer. People will wait longer for a haircut. People won't eat out as much, and all those habits have continued to change. And yeah, we'll see where that goes. Appreciate your time once again. You guys have a good week.